Hello, ABIC community. It's Stef Milla here, your CEO, and I'm sitting here with Karen Meiring, Gonazalez from Skin Correctives. How are you, Karen?
Well, thank you, Steph, and well, good job on my surname there.
Oh, yes, it's beautiful, very exotic. Oh, goodness me. We are very excited because today we are talking to the first clinic in Australia to become a SafeSkin certified clinic. And Karen did that way back last year when we launched SafeSkin certification in the beta version. So that was the trial version late last year. And so she went through our whole process, gave us feedback, was instrumental in streamlining the process. So now we have been able to, together and with a couple of experts that also helped us with it, launch the final streamlined, very, very easy and dynamic version of SafeSkin certification. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Are you excited, Karen?
I'm very excited about the whole thing. Yes, absolutely. Very passionate.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You've been waiting a long time. You were just saying you've been waiting a long time for this to really start to take off. And of course, you're a huge advocate for, really high standards in our industry and just in general for the beauty and aesthetic industry. You're a huge ambassador for what we do. But a lot of people out there, they do know you, but some people don't. Before we start talking about SafeSkin certification, Karen, tell us a little bit about your history, how you came to be in this industry, because it is a very interesting story.
Well, look, first of all, I did struggle with self-esteem when I was young, like many of us, and I just wanted to make a difference and help people with confidence. And at the time, I was really interested in psychology, but the thought of sitting in one place, a little bit ADHD, sitting in one spot all the time, and also just the emotional toll it would have on my life, I was like, not so sure if I want to pursue a whole degree and then find out that this is not for me. So I went to the local university and I did aptitude tests and some, personality profiling and all these different tests, and beauty therapy coming up. And I was like, I don't see myself as a beauty kind of girl, to be honest. And I was like, nah, I don't think. I just brushed it off. And my mum was really concerned at the time about my sort of lack of direction. And so she suggested I go to the ABIC Academy, which is a world-renowned academy in Stellenbosch, South Africa, to go to this open day. And I have to say, I was really impressed from the minute I walked through the door. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe there's something to this after all. And in this sort of demonstrations and the talks they had, I was mostly, I suppose, intrigued by like things like reflexology. I remember electrology being something that really appealed to me, because at that stage, there was no laser or IPL hair removal, right? Shows you how old I am. And at the end of the day, when it came to cosmetic chemistry, I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. So, and then later on, I got really intrigued by the anatomy and physiology, and in particular, the skin. So I also, at this academy, we did three international qualifications, which at that stage was the highest that you could do in the world. Like I would have imagined close to what dermal is now.
Yeah.
And that would open international doors for me. Being from South Africa, that was a really big thing. So I thought, what's the worst thing that can happen? I specialized in one of these avenues and I could travel the world. And I honestly haven't looked back. It's an industry that served me so well, and I've loved every minute, every minute.
And you hear this story so many times over and over again that there's this, you didn't think you were going to be drawn to this industry, but this industry just had this incredible magnetism to it. And then when we enter it, we're not sorry. It is a lifelong, passionate career and a love, really. It's not just a work. It is something that we end up loving. And that's why I think, you've been an ABIC member right from the beginning. Like, you're an industry icon. You're also an award-winning therapist and clinic owner. So your clinic constantly wins, top of the line awards. And also now you've got international accreditations. Last year, as we said, you're the first to become, SafeSkin certified. So you're a pioneer in the industry. You lead the way. This love and passion for the industry has extended you to take on this new chapter, which is SafeSkin certification. But why was it so important to you? And why was it so important to your clinic?
So when I was in South Africa, there was an association called SASP, and basically it's an association that looks after the aesthetic industry. So you have all these different levels that belong to them, from the training organizations to the clinics, and also the skincare providers. Doesn't matter which sector, that you all have a part in this association. And their job or role was to make sure that you sort of benchmarked with certain standards, but then also to ensure that we had ongoing education. So we had sort of core points that we needed to earn, suppose pretty much like the health professionals here, to be able to maintain our membership. So it made sense when I came to Australia to seek for such an association or organization. And at the time, there wasn't anything. In actual fact, I was horrified to find out that we weren't even regulated in Australia. I did come across Tina Viney from APAN, which was very refreshing, because I was able to join APAN and, of course, be surrounded by professionals and able to feel that feeling of community at the time.
It's amazing.
But, yeah, and then, of course, a lot of industry professionals that I admire and who've become friends in the industry, they were talking about, starting ABIC. And having been an advocate for our industry through COVID, I was so keen to join something or be part of something. And when I remember getting the email about 10 o'clock at night saying, you can now join ABIC, and I was like, 2 minutes past, I was joining.
In the middle of the night, you received the email.
It was crazy. It was like, oh, yes, I'm doing this. And then I got a call from a counselor at ABIC, and I was basically asked, what did I want from ABIC? What is it that you are hoping to achieve from being an ABIC member? And I had two main things. One was setting standards and benchmark to hopefully, move towards self-regulation. And then the other one was, I've just got my cat here trying to get on me. We did say no animals, sorry.
It's okay. He can come and
yes, and of course, then for me, the most important thing was to be a voice and have some kind of, sort of possibility for us to be able to ensure that we could be a voice for any possible regulations or any possible changes that could come, because obviously that's really important. And there's always this fear of us being regulated and decisions being made by people who don't actually understand our industry.
It really is. And I love the fact that you mentioned at the time we had Tina, and she's done so much incredible work in the industry, even now, really pioneering the way. But there's so much work to do, isn't there? Sometimes you look at it, it's the tip of the iceberg, but with SafeSkin certification, it's something that I don't think we haven't seen anything like this before. It really is. People have been much like you. When ABIC first started, they said, we asked, what is the thing that you'd like? And they actually all said, we want a national unified standard where we know this is the standard, this is what we're aspiring to, and we're all practicing in the same way. We all have the right qualifications. We're all in unison together. And I think there wasn't that united body. We had incredible associations, we still do, in each sector, but maybe no voice to unify all of those people and all of those associations. And that's what ABIC strives every day to do. And hopefully we'll keep getting better and better at it. But with ABIC certification, we put together all of the best standards in the industry and roll them into a program that's easy to perform, easy to do. But it personally has a meaning for us, but also for the whole industry. You talk about that whole industry benefit all the time. Why do you think that ABIC certification is going to be so important and pivotal to the industry at large?
Well, I think our industry often is at risk because of things that have happened in our industry with unqualified professionals, or they're not professionals because they're not qualified, but you know what I mean? So we've got to look at the fact that there has to be some kind of set standard and criteria for us to build some trust, so that we can have the public or our potential clients have that, where they can go to an association and know that it's a safe clinic to approach, or to, like, even if you look at marketing these days, there's so much marketing jargon. It's so confusing with TikTok, etc. We need to know, or people need to know, who can I approach that's trusted, that I can actually have navigate me through all of this and know, help me filter is the truth. So that's really important. But then on top of all of that, besides keeping our clients safe and being a directory for clients, it is, of course, very important. The government's going to only listen to us if we really have a powerful and united voice. And if we can actually prove that we've already put something into place that is successful to be able to self-regulate. So that's really important for us as a clinic. You know, as a beauty therapist, we also have concerns about where we sit in the industry. And we need to make sure that if we are going to be practicing as beauty therapists and specializing in skin therapies, that we are going to be able to prove that we are of a high standard so that we can be allowed to operate and do the things that we want to do and are so capable of doing. But if we don't stand together as specialized skin therapists in the beauty industry and start putting some kind of voice together to be heard, we are going to be in trouble, as that's what I'm foreseeing, unfortunately.
We're seeing the waters, you know, starting to turn there. You know, the tides are starting to turn in terms of, you know, governments looking at us, and parts of our industry have already had very tight regulation come down. The medical aesthetic and the dermal side are starting to feel it. And it is going to trickle down to us. It's inevitable. We have spoken to the bodies concerned, and they are seeking to find a way to make our industry safer and make it more equitable for clients. I also think that in this whole, I suppose, changing seas of what's been going on over the last maybe 15 years, our therapists in our industry, in our clinic, lose sight of where their place is as well. And I know you do a lot of work with awards and always trying to uplift your team. This part of the certification, has that led to a sense of pride in your, how does it, I suppose, come across to your therapist? Has it given them a sense of pride? Does it have, I suppose, implement things to lift their own standards and their own self-worth? Do you feel that's happened?
When it comes to awards, that's up to now been the only way that I've been able to have some kind of certification or should I say more endorsement that we are of a clinic of high care and standards. Whereas now with SafeSkin clinics, we are able to make that more of a certification, which is obviously going to make clients feel even safer. But what's important for me is my team are so proud. I sometimes think over these awards, they take so much time, but they're so proud to be working in an award-winning clinic. And now even more proud to be able to say that we're a SafeSkin clinic. And as you know, my whole team have volunteered to come up to the ABIC stand and come and promote SafeSkin clinics on at the so they're really excited and they're really, really proud, because I've always ingrained in them that we are a clinic of high standards. And that's one thing I also wanted to say, that everything that you're asking from clinics to do for certification are things we should have in place anyway. And most clinic owners do. It's just probably all scattered around all over your PC and tucked away in the drawers and all of that. It's just about putting it in a way that you can present it to be able to be recognized for all your hard work and be sort of certified and said, yes, you are of that standard. And it's a really good process. We went through that process with the whole team. So I involved the team in getting everything ready and set up, because like every other clinic, it wasn't all in one place. Now we've got it all in one place for you to view at any time. And if you make your team a part of that, it's so much easier to execute everything following and to keep that standard, you know, high. One of the things we noticed we were not that sharp with was OH&S. We've got a manual. I purchased a template at some point and I adjusted it according to what the clinic needed, but it's not something that we focus on going through that with the staff at team meetings and repeatedly revisiting, because we're so focused on our hygiene protocols and infection control and customer service and making sure that we work well as a team and education. So that was something that I really needed to revisit. So we did get an external person in to come and do a whole assessment for us. It was quite eye-opening, to be honest. Little things you don't even think of that can happen in your business. And it's only once it happens that there's an issue, right? We don't sort of pay much attention to it. So, and that is something, like you said, you can help as well. We don't, you know, clinics don't have to feel like they're alone with all of this. We can all share what we've learned and And the more of us that do it, the more we'll have information to be able to share with everybody else to bring that level up to scratch where we need it to be.
I love that. You know, you just touched on a little bit about what SafeSkin certification actually focuses on. Do you want to run through a couple of the other categories that we did as well?
Yeah. So obviously, important to have all your business practices, making sure you're registered with everything that you need to be registered with, making sure you have your tax obligations, and making sure you're paying your super on time. Number one. A very big thing. You'd be surprised how many people come and work for me and then they've never had super contributions, or has been paid for a long time. I don't think you can get away with it that well now, but it's quite shocking. And just making sure that you're doing all the right thing by your staff in every regard, infection control, your hygiene protocols, as I mentioned, OH&S, making sure that your education is up to scratch, ensuring that you're always doing staff development, protocols in place, simple things like a burns protocol, or do your staff know what to do if a client literally collapsed on the floor right here, right now?
Exactly.
Have they got a protocol to follow? Is there going to be somebody that is what's the word I'm looking for? First aid qualified? Have they got somebody that knows what to do? So it's really important. And we don't always think of these things because you're running around like headless chooks running and managing the business. But these are really important things to consider. And doing this process really makes you look at all those different things and just realize, what you really need to be focusing on to make sure you don't regret. Because once some of these things happen, it can be detrimental to your reputation or the business.
It really can. There's so many things that can hit you hard, especially with IR and HR policy. You're not aware of the policy. You're not aware of the changes that have happened with the industrial relation laws. You're not sure. And then you haven't been, performing in the right way or giving the obligation that you need to, or you haven't been, for example, haven't set up your consent forms correctly, and then you have a case where someone is extremely unhappy and wants to sue you, and you don't have the checks and balances there to be able to say, well, look, you've signed this consent form and it actually covers that particular adverse event or that particular outcome. Because sometimes it's not even an outcome that happens. Sometimes it's not even an adverse event. Sometimes it's just an outcome that's the client's not happy with. If you haven't covered that in your consent form, you can actually, I found myself in a little bit of hot water, and my consent form saved me. And it wasn't even an adverse event. It was literally an outcome that she wasn't happy with, or didn't meet the expectations.
And this happens to every clinic. Like we've had situations in the past too, and it's even a step further is when you have the right protocols in place and your staff don't necessarily follow through on that. It's like, well, that's the next step, making sure that your staff have certain protocols and bringing in additional protocols when something doesn't go right, and always going back and forth and reflecting. And these are things that we can also share with each other, when the time comes, or put more things into place. So I'm assuming that whatever you're doing with the SafeSkin certification process is going to be a growing thing as well. As we find different clinics contribute to different aspects, we'll bring it in for everybody else, and making sure that we're always developing and elevating ourselves in the industry.
There's a constant assessment protocol that we have within SafeSkin certification, constant review process that we do. We have a feedback process, and we're in constant continual improvement. And that's why
I saw you going on there.
Did you?
I saw that you had peeped in to check, and it said something to the effect of it's, that you check in or whatever, or I can't remember. I thought, at least
on your portal
in to make sure that everything's still up to scratch and happening and ticking.
Yeah, absolutely. We always do. And it's so funny that you saw us logging into your portal, but yeah, we always do. We just make sure that everything's okay. And then if we've got a procedure or protocol that we want to update, we add it in there. So you were talking about all the different aspects. There's 8 different aspects that we cover in SafeSkin certification. It sounds like a lot, but we actually make it so streamlined for you now. We've 2 different types of certification. One of them is your standard certification, and it's self-guided. So if you have all the procedures and protocols, you can upload them into your portal, and you need some assistance from us and we'll give you guidance, but we're kind of a little bit more hands off, you do your thing, and we then assess and help you. We've got a guided certification where we load all of the documents in each category for you. You can use them or not. If you have the protocol already, you upload yours. If you don't have the protocol, you can download the one that we've put into your portal, adjust it to your clinic, and then upload that. It is so quick and easy. It is
Can't make it
right
any
there
easier
for
than that,
you.
right?
You didn't get that one, did you?
No, and you can't make it any easier. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did you were talking earlier and you said, oh, I did the difficult one. I did the early one. Which wasn't so difficult, but it did involve a little bit more time. Now it's very, very streamlined. It's very quick. We help you. We've got videos, we've got guidance, we've got set protocols, and it's great. You go through it very, very quickly. And then obviously every year we just check in to see if anything's changed. Have you hired more staff? If you have you got the your contracts in place? Have you got new treatments on board this year that we need to review your new protocols? Have you updated all your licenses? You know, just check-ins like that we do every year. And they're very quick and simple, and you declare anything that's different, and we can upload that onto your portal as well. And then you just have your renewal fee, which is a fraction of the cost of the actual, the actual first fee, which is the certification fee to get certified. And so we've kind of taken care of it all for you. I want to hear about, why do you think that this will have an impact on the clients in the industry, and what do you think their reaction is going to be once this trickles out into the public and the public knows, oh, there's this thing called SafeSkin certification? How do you think that will affect new clients coming into your business? How's it affected your business? Have new clients loved the fact that you're a SafeSkin certified clinic? Or what is your old client saying? Give us the goss.
So I think in terms of our older clients or our regular clients, they've always been used to the high standard that we have, which has really set us aside, because that's my training that I've had previously, used to being in an association like this. But they seem to be really proud of it, like, because obviously they're like, well, you know, they come to us and we're the first clinic, and they really celebrated that with us. I do think that it will set us aside when we, or apart from the others, when people are going on Google. Like when I opened up Skin Correctives in Shell Harbour, we were the only clinic doing any kind of advanced skin therapies. Now there's so many. So it's a very different market. So we do need to make sure we're constantly elevating ourselves and proving that we are a clinic of high standard, especially when we're competing with the medical industry with lots of treatments that we do. So I think that is something that definitely is going to be a standard. I know there's a lot of skepticism around how this will work and if it will work and it can't work. And I've had conversations with many clinics about it. And let me tell you, it's been working for 50 years in South Africa, which is a third world country.
Wow.
There's no damn reason it can't work in a first world. It's all around. Everybody just needs to realize there's a responsibility. And if you don't get on board, there could be detrimental things coming for us in the future that could take away things from us that we really need. So if it's a matter of cost, it's going to cost you far more if you get services taken away from you. Look at what's happened in America, right? The estheticians, I know they have a different sort of level of whatever, and it's different for each state, but they've lost so many modalities. We don't want that to happen, because there's no understanding in government for what we really do and how certified or qualified we are to sometimes perform these treatments. So, and if it's about difficulty, you've made it so easy, like, and you can reach out to anybody. Like, I'm happy to help if there's anybody that needs some support. So, you know, there's really no excuse. I know the economy is tough, and I know, but it is such a good priority. Now is the time to do these things, because we are all quieter. Let's not be in denial about the fact that the economy is not so good at the moment, and we're all having clients reschedule. So this is the time now when we're quiet to achieve the big things in our businesses, right? So I really want to encourage all business owners and clinic owners to do this, and just come and chat to my team. We'll be there at the expo if you haven't signed on yet, and we can, you know, talk you through everything.
Oh, I love that. You know, I love that you put yourself out there as a person, as an advocate, but also a little bit of a mentor as well to our industry, to say, look, I've been through it, I've done it. And also, if you're saying if South Africa can do it,
absolutely.
We can do it. South Africa sounds like it's really set up really well, by the way. So that's actually a really good benchmark to follow. But Australia, let's get out of our way. Why can't we do this? Of course we can. We are among the best therapists in the world. Actually, our training is incredible. Our standard is extremely high. When you actually have a look at all of the different standards that are set in place in education in other countries, we are avant-garde, we're ahead of our time, and we're extremely careful and conscientious. We talk about the cowboys in the industry, but that's not the therapists. That's not the professionals that have actually gone to school to learn this. We're talking about people coming in to our industry with no qualifications because it's unregulated and really just setting up shop, not knowing much. Those are the ones that are the cowboys in the industry. But the professionals that have done this, you know, for ever since they've left school, they are careful. They're so considerate, and they're all about patient safety. Goodness me, you know, my therapists are so conscientious about clients that they don't even want to sell to them. They're like, no, I need to only do what is ethical. And it's like, well, ethical is to, you know, make a treatment package for them that can help them with their skin. You know, what's the line there? But they're so conservative. I think our whole country is already there. The professionals are there in standard. We just need to make the government known, and we all need to be unified. And when you were saying, like, you know, there's many reasons, one of the reasons could be financial. But the other one, it could be, I feel like in Australia, we've got, you know, we've got this culture. You know, we are down to earth, but we call when we see something that's not 100%, you know, doesn't go down well. And we call it tall poppy, or we call it, you know, the naysaying culture and things like that. But sometimes that can get in our way. You know, we can get in our own way of doing new things or pursuing new you know, advancements, because we've got that kind of like kickback attitude of, well, we'll see how it goes. We're a bit naysayer, or we're even a bit cliquey, you know, oh, that's not really our thing. That's not our group that's doing that. But really it's our livelihood. We need to stop doing that. We need to start coming together, getting out of each other's way. We might not all agree, but we all agree on the one thing. We don't want modalities taken away from us. And really, honestly, the likelihood of that happening over the next few years, we're getting questions. We are getting questions. We are getting interviewed. People are asking us, you know, why is it that a beauty therapist and a dermal therapist can do the same thing? You know, those questions are not, are coming through. So how do we justify that? This is a platform to do that. When you were talking about the barriers to entry, we've actually reduced the cost because we've made it so easy for even ABIC to be able to now take up volume, because it, you know, it was such a big program that obviously, you know, our facilitators were going to be inundated. If we did too many of them, we couldn't keep up. But now we've made it in a way where ABIC can actually keep up. We can certify people at a faster rate. We have got video content. We've got the many-to-one. So, you know, we can literally do this on scale, and we have made it at a better price. So it is $4.99 only for members instead of $8.99 where it was before. So it's literally half the price. We've got, that's your standard certification. And if you're not a member, you can actually also do SafeSkin certification. It is more expensive if you're not a member. It's $5.99. So if you're a member, you get the discount. And if you're not an ABIC member and you want to be, we do give you a package deal for SafeSkin certification and membership at the same time. So there's so many different options. We've got the hold your hand option, the self-guided option, where we give you assessments and a lot of information, and you kind of do it yourself with a bit of our help. And we've also got the hold your hand one, that if you don't know where to start, if you're sitting there going, I can't do this, I'm a new clinic, or I don't have time, or, you know, it's something that's beyond my reach now, I don't have all the protocols, that's okay. For only $8.99, we actually run the whole thing, a hold your hand system, where it's called a guided certification, with all of the documents there for you, and we help tailor them for you. So there's really an option for everyone, isn't there?
And if you're a hands-on therapist, business owner, I mean, gosh, that option is amazing, because that would be really a big barrier to entry if you are somebody that's busy working a column full-time, you don't have special admin staff and all the rest, but that's a really good option as well. And I think we just shouldn't have the attitude that we often have. I know politics is renowned for this. Everybody thinks, well, everybody else will vote, I can just sit back, right? You need to ensure that you participate. You can't just sit back and assume, oh, everybody else will jump on this and speak on our behalf, etc. Because if we don't have enough voices, we can't be heard. It's as simple as that. So
That's a huge one. Actually, when I went to Canberra just over a week ago, we actually had the feedback from politicians themselves. One of the biggest things was your voices aren't loud enough. And I think myself and the clinic owners that actually came to the meeting with me were taken aback. We said, what do you mean? Surely everyone's complaining. Surely all the small business owners and the beauty therapists are all sending submissions in and we're all saying the same thing. And they said, actually, no. Actually, we hear the unions talk. So the unions have a huge voice. For every 7 to 8 unions that are talking about employee rights, which is great and fair and fine. But if for everybody talking about HR policies, there's 8 of those organizations to one person giving us feedback about small business and the state of small business and how their small business is faring and the problems they have in their small business. And, you know, beauty or regulation they're like, we never get any, ABIC's the only one we talk to. And they said, we talk to ABIC, but we need to hear from the people in your community, the constituents, the actual business owners. The voices aren't loud enough and you need more of you. And we sort of was taken a little bit aback, and we did post about it and let the community know what we experienced. But even if you're small, even if you're one person, it doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. We have ABIC certification even for sole traders. It's only $2.99 if you're a sole trader, and we help you through the process as well. So it doesn't mean if you don't have a salon or, an award-winning clinic or spa, it doesn't matter. Your standards can be that, and you can represent yourself as the top of the game, the best in the industry. It's just you doing it.
It's even more important if you're a home clinic,
yes.
Because I've always said this, like people often go, oh, home clinic. There's some home clinics that have higher standards than clinics in malls, right? So that would be a really amazing thing for home clinics to be able to do, to be able to differentiate between their quality and some others. So, and if it's an affordable price like that, really, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It really is. Karen, where do you see the future of our industry when you look 5 years ahead in the beauty and aesthetics game? What do you see the challenges and the opportunities are?
Look, personally, I think we've got a rough road ahead. I'm under no illusions, but I always stay optimistic. And so I honestly can see us going through a few little hobbles and then us all coming together and getting this off the ground and really having this association or ABIC being something that we can all be proud of. I can see safe skin clinics working as long as we work it.
Oh, wow.
And ensuring that at the same time, it not just upholds the standard, but hopefully getting to a point where it also has some kind of component or leg that will look after continuous education and ensuring that people, because I always say to my staff, it's not the education that you have, it's what you do with it after. So, self-development, personal development, and all these things should also form part of this criteria. I do think our industry has got a lot to offer. I do think it's very fragmented, and I do think that we need to start working together more and not be so threatened by each other. We work with a doctor in our clinic that does our cosmetic injectables, because we realize as well and identify that if we don't, our clients will go elsewhere. And it's so much easier for us to be able to have that program that we work out for the client, knowing when is she having her certain injectables done and how long to leave in between and when can we then do the next procedure. So we're working, and collaborating on a client's skin results. So I think there also needs to be a mutual respect, just the same as for us with the doctors, from the doctors to the beauty therapists or skin therapists, and not this constant development. And I think that is something that we need to really work on together. I do also, or I would love to see better relationships between the different associations and entities or whatever you want, bodies in the industry.
Closer partnership.
100%. That's the only way we're going to get there. Everybody wants the same thing. It's like religion, right? Everybody wants to have love, but in the end, it's the religion that divides people. I feel the same way about what's happening at the moment in our industry. So I feel like we just need to get through those barriers and all play our part in that. So I personally foresee some hobbly times with some good stuff to happen, because it's only in bad times, that we put in strategies that serve us in good times. When
Wow.
things are going well, we never do things that work for us. It's always in those times that we dig deep and we make things happen. And I feel like we're there now. So I'm really excited.
You know what? I'm going to leave the live on that, because everybody should leave with that thought in their head. It's now is the time that we put those strategies in place for the good times. It will force us to be better, to get better, and to look after our industry the way it deserves, and look after ourselves too, because this is self-care for us. This is looking after our profession. If you want to know more about ABIC SafeSkin Certification, please head to our website. It's the ABIC website, it's the Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council, and you just click on the menu and you'll find SafeSkin Certification. Check it out. There's a whole bunch of information there, all the prices, all the, the processes as well. If you want more information, you can call us on 1-800-MY-ABIC, and we will be happy to go through all of that process with you. If you're a bit hesitant, you want to reach out to someone that's already done it before, Karen has generously said that she will be there to be able to answer any questions. So you can send her a message even on her Facebook or Instagram. And she will be at the stand with all of her team representing SafeSkin at the ABIC stand at the Beauty Expo. So you can come and visit her, ask her all the questions, ask her team the questions as well. And we'll definitely be there to support you, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us today, and all the wonderful work that you're doing for our industry. You really are such a wonderful advocate, someone that we can look to help us elevate. And that's what ABIC is all about, isn't it? So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye, community.